Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Shaheen Ghadir with the Fertile Life Podcast. I am very excited to have a dear friend. Diana Madison is here with me today. She is a social media influencer, an entrepreneur, a TV personality. She's an actress. She's a producer. She's an amazing mom, an unbelievable friend, and I'm so honored to have you here today. I usually give up people an opportunity to introduce themselves, which I know you've done so many things. There is nothing that Diana has not done and does everything so well and seamlessly. Thank you so much for joining me today.
I love you so much. I'm so happy to be here, and I am so proud of you for having this podcast. I know it's been something you really wanted to do. I know you've talked about it with me in the past. So just being here today and doing your podcast is such a big deal for me because I love seeing my friends thrive. And you're thriving.
Thank you. You know, you get a signal of an amazing human being that cares and wants to see their friends and people around them to do well. And I know that you always go out of your way to help everyone in your life do well. And you know what? It comes back. And you've done unbelievably well. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the sale of your entire studio and everything that you put together. You and your husband worked so hard.
We got lucky. You know, I think in life you have to follow your intuition and not be attached to things. I started the studio out of my parents' garage. I wanted to be a host. I wanted to be on camera. No one would give me a job because I'm Middle Eastern. I look Armenian. And that didn't stop me. I was like, all right, they're not going to give me a job at Entertainment Tonight. At
Wait a minute. People did not get that you were the hottest Armenian out there and with the most personality in the world. Come on, give me a break.
You know what? 14 years ago, no, it was like change your name. It was Tigranui Diana Macpopian. That's my real name. And I went to change it. I turned it into Diana Madison.
Nice.
And I became Diana Madison. You know, I don't regret changing the name, but at that time, people weren't open to ethnic people. It was in talks about diversity. You were either, from the South and had blonde hair and blue eyes. You were getting the job on camera, and you didn't. And I wasn't getting the jobs. I wasn't getting on camera gigs. And what was I going to do? Was I going to fight against the system? No, like we're immigrant kids, right? I'm an immigrant kid. It's like you create your own opportunity, find a way. And so I started doing something called YouTube that was in beta. It was like where you went to watch cat videos. I decided to start doing these interviews with my friends just to build a reel to give it to a manager, hoping they would manage me. And reality was I just kept building an audience. I just kept building numbers, and people started watching these ridiculous interviews that I was doing just to build a reel, and that ended up becoming a digital media studios and one of the biggest in its space for YouTube content. I was producing 12 billion views the year before I sold it. Did 150 shows I was producing a week. So it was 5-minute shows, 150 shows. And I had a staff and the most amazing team, but I was seeing as a business owner. So here's the thing, as a creator, it's one thing. And then as a business owner, I was seeing the trends of YouTube and when you get down to it, the CPMs and all that stuff. And I was like, wait, there's something I just felt intuitively things were going to change. And I told my husband, I said, we should look into selling the company the next year. I just seeing the numbers. They don't make sense anymore. When we started, I was the only person doing interviews on YouTube. And then where we were right before we sold our company, everybody could be making videos on YouTube. You don't have to be a studio anymore. Everybody's a creator. So we had that idea. We weren't really pushing it either. We were thinking about it. And I had executive produced a show for Lifetime with Kim Kardashian at the time. I wanted to get into the beauty space. I didn't know how to. And at the same time, I wanted to pursue my passion, which was acting. And again, I didn't know how to. All I was doing for 14 years was doing YouTube videos and running a staff and looking at numbers all day long and looking at algorithms. But, I feel like the universe hears you even when you're in your moments of do I want to do this? And we got this amazing offer right before we sold right before COVID. So we sold our company, and I had no idea COVID was going to happen. I was just going to be okay, what do I do next? What's next in my life? I had been working on the beauty brand, and I think your wife probably knew about it because I tell her everything.
I've known about it, and we're going to talk about that today.
You knew about it, at the dinners we had in Westwood, the Persian restaurants. We've been talking about it. It wasn't really I launched it literally like a month or two before I sold my company, and it was a side hobby. It's a passion project. It wasn't like, I wasn't thinking I was going to make money off of it. But, in the last 2 years, that's kind of taken off, and I know you want to ask me about that. But honestly, like, I just want to say, like, universe always is looking out for you, and to like follow your intuition and don't hold any attachments to things. Because I was sitting there, I'm like, do I sell the only thing I know? This is all I known for 14 years. Do I sell it? And I think the best thing I did was sell it. So,
wow.
Got to listen to that intuition.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
I mean, you just compacted so much in there, but I've been to that studio. We've recorded shows together.
We did.
That was fun.
It was so much fun.
That was fun, and it was well put together. And the fact that the way you started this, I just absolutely loved what you said. The doors were closing, but you opened doors.
Right.
And one of the messages that I love about the guests that I like to bring onto this podcast is it's when you say the fertile life, it's not only about fertility. And I want to make sure everyone knows this podcast is not only about fertility, because Diana hates the word fertility and doesn't want to talk about it. And we will be talking about it.
You're always pressuring me to have a third kid. Oh my goodness. Because when I met you, I think I was pregnant. And we did our interview. I was pregnant with my second kid.
Yes, you were very pregnant.
I remember, very clearly when we met. And, I know since we've met, you've been like the third kid. I feel like,
because what I see,
secretly inject me.
I see how capable you are. And you're one of those people that if we put 6 kids in your living room, you'd be able to handle that and your job and your life and make it look perfect and do it perfectly. So that's why.
I'm happy that's what it looks like, because this morning I was like yelling. And I'm like, get out of the car. And then Ray's like rushing with Colette. I'm rushing with Christian. And I swear to God, it was like I was like, this is so chaotic.
I love
hearing that.
If you want to feel better, just come to our house one day in the morning and you'll feel amazing about yourself.
Oh my God.
I think it's the same for everyone. But the aspect of, growth in life is part of the fertile life. It's just like, it's part of the fact that life is growing all the way around us. And it has nothing to do just with having kids, but it has to do with grabbing opportunities by the neck and making things happen for yourself. And I'm beyond proud of you for doing this. And it gives a lot of people a lot of motivation. My wife and I had talked to you about launching a product that we wanted to, and I got to tell you, it was so challenging that at the end we just put it aside. So it's not completely put aside, but it was a lot of thought, and at the end we were a little scared to do so.
Right.
And the way
it's scary. Like, it's a territory if you're not familiar with. Even for me, I didn't know how to launch a product. I don't know how to make products. Like, it's something that I'm learning every day, and even every single day I'm learning something new. I think if you didn't launch it wholeheartedly, your passion wasn't in it 100%. Because I know you and I know your wife. If you guys were 100% into it, you guys would have done it. So it's okay if you didn't, and maybe it might come back in the next year, and maybe like there'll be different opportunities that come to you. I always feel like the seed is in your head. Let it like grow, and I think timing is everything. Timing is so key. So don't beat up on yourself. Like, it can happen, and maybe it won't, but I think timing is good, and I think we have to like trust like the journey, because we get so caught up in results, like, oh, we didn't make the product, but it can happen.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and I think timing is a lot, and sometimes you have to know also when it's not the right time in life to do certain things. Just like you had that intuition that was the right time, that I think I need to sell now.
Yeah.
And it came to fruition and it happened and it was completely correct. I just think that timing is not there. And again, timing has a lot to do with life in general.
Right.
I'd love to talk if you want to get into it. You can talk a little bit about what you're doing in the beauty space.
Yeah, so I launched Diana Madison Beauty, and listen to this. Like, when I launched it, it was on my birthday, August 22. I sold the company 2 months later. So when I launched it, it was because I needed something. And I said, hey, if I need something, other people need it. But the real selfish reason is I actually needed this. I had Colette 6 years ago. I started getting bad cases of eczema. I'm talking about hives. And I never had this before. So it was kind of like, what's going on with my body? And when I saw a local dermatologist, I was told like, hey, this happens when you have a baby, your body changes. And I just didn't want to use steroids all the time, like the topical steroids. It was a lot of work, and I'm really into clean things. I've always have been. even before it was a trend. I'm really into holistic things, and I meditate, and I have my shamans, and I'm very into the spiritual world. I don't talk about it as much, but I am. So I was just like, I can't keep using steroids. This is like not the right way to do it. And I was told there's no other remedy to eczema and psoriasis. And the only way I could prevent is the key word, is if I constantly hydrate my skin with clean products. So I said, all right, let me hydrate my skin with clean products. How difficult is this? I went to Rite Aid, and I was looking at the counter of where the dermatologist told me to look. And I come from a world of, creating things, and everything needs to be Instagrammable. This is the world I come from, right? Being a social media influencer for so long and a YouTuber, like, things need to like have a story. What's the story? So I'm looking at these brands, and I'm like, I would never tell any of my friends that I'm using these products. Are they effective? Yes. But do they look nice? No. Where would I keep these products? Under my sink. Okay, I would use it and throw it under the sink. I would never put it out and display it and be proud of it and tell the whole world I'm using like some of these brands. And I looked at it and I said, this needs to be done better. But I didn't actively do something then,
So are they creams? Are they oils?
I have 3 SKUs right now, and every product I have is meant to help hydrate your skin in order to prevent breakouts. So when you get eczema, it's because your skin's super dry and it cracks, and that's how you get eczema. So for me, my purpose with my products is to help heal your skin. And at the same time, since I'm like such a glam makeup beauty girl, I'm like, let's bring that glow factor on. Let's bring that that like glam essence to it. And honestly, I created this brand as a way to help heal people's skin, but it's kind of taken its life on its own. All these makeup artists are using it in their makeup routine. It's now becoming like Glowtopia, which was the face oil, is now becoming a staple with the top makeup artists for some of the biggest celebrities in the world.
Wow.
To hear some of the biggest celebrities in the world being obsessed with my products is so major. I can't say the names, obviously, but it's in confidence. But when I hear that they're obsessed with it and I can't get enough of it, it just makes me so happy, because my goal is to literally help heal everybody's skin. And you don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be, anybody who has skin issues. I want them to use this and feel good about it. And also, if you don't have skin issues and you just want to have like clean products, like the sheet mask, I just launched this. I got the idea to launch it during the pandemic because we were holed up at home with the kids, and all I kept using was sheet masks. And I realized, I'm like, wait, some of these sheet masks out there have crap in there, and I use it because I can't read in the back, like it's in Korean. I don't understand. So I was like, I need to be doing this a lot better, where it's clean. There's no, alcohol or silicone and fillers in there, and it's just like clean ingredients that actually help heal your skin. And the body oil, when I created it, the second product, that came out of a need too, because I was like using it on my face, right? The Glowtopia face oil, and people kept messaging me, hey, I have really dry skin like my body. I need to do something for my body. Can I use a face oil for my body? And I was just like, I guess there's a need for that. I mean, if people are messaging me for it, that,
that's the biggest
a need.
Notion that you need to do something.
Right. And I went to Hawaii with my kids, and I was on a vacation, and I got bit by a Portuguese jellyfish. So I was like in pain, limping to the local like drugstore, like walking from the beach, because they were like, oh, it's very normal for people to get bit here at this beach, Lanikai in Oahu. So it's like famous for their Portuguese jellyfish. But anyway, so I'm like limping to the local pharmacy to get anything to put on my, like an antiseptic, something to put on my leg because it was hurting so much. So when I went, and as I'm limping, I see all these kukui nut trees, and I keep hearing about kukui nut oil, and I keep seeing I was like, what is a kukui nut oil? I discovered it helps with eczema and psoriasis.
Oh,
so
wow.
As I'm like limping, I'm like, wait, what's the kukui nut oil? So I got the idea to create the second product, a body oil, using the kukui nut oil that I discovered on a family vacation to Hawaii. I think like if you're launching a brand now, and if you go forward to launch your brand, I think it's really important to make it authentic to your lifestyle and who you are. It's really, really important. People could see through it if it's not like authentic and real. And for me, everything I'm launching, it has a story to it. Each product has a name, it has a personality to it. And I feel like Fertility, I'm giving birth each time to a new individual, even though it's a product.
Wait, Diana, where can people find your products?
So you can find it on DianaMadisonBeauty.com. We are at Neiman Marcus, which is so amazing.
Oh, wow.
We keep selling out there, which is like
Wow.
the best. I just love the team at Neiman's. They are so amazing. You can find it at Anthropology,
Oh,
which
wow.
was so nice because, I love Anthropology. I've been shopping there for years. Revolve was one of our first retailers. And coming in next year, we're launching in 3 other major retailers.
That's fantastic.
It's crazy because honestly, I didn't expect this to take off. It was something I needed. But that's like the beauty of when you create something and there's a need for it. If I need it, then somebody else needs it too. And there is a market for it, And I just feel like there is this whole thing of like, yes, there's less saturation when it comes to beauty and skincare, but I do feel like women don't have a loyalty to one brand. They have a loyalty to good products that help you look good, feel good. And so as long as you could make something that really gives an emotional satisfaction to someone, you're good. Create that product.
What is the best advice that you could give someone who's out there listening, who's thinking about starting a product but not sure where to start or what to do?
I think the first thing is like, what is the story? And that comes back to what I just said about the authenticity. Who are you and why you want to make that product, or what does that product mean for you, and what's the story behind it? So for me, I had created a beauty competition show for Lifetime. I was doing a lot of beauty product reviews. I didn't study beauty. Like I just was day to day working with these products, right? I was being gifted products to talk about on my shows. And so I started to like have I started to like have a feel of like what works on my skin and what doesn't. And I was tired of reading things in magazines that this is great, and then I would use it and it's just not that great, and you spend $50, you're just like... So for me, I had the skin condition, that's my story, and I needed a product that healed it. And it takes me a long time to create each product. I don't have 20 items. It takes me over a year to formulate each product, and I might not be the smartest business move, but for me it's important that it's clean and it's not ripping people off, and people use it and they like it, they want to come back again. And I think if you are in that mindset of creating something that is going to make people like use it, feel good, and want to come back more, you're in the right place. But just be authentic to who you are, your lifestyle. Like my lifestyle is this. Like if I'm not using my products, I'm trying out other people's products and I'm like talking about it. So make sure it's just part of your lifestyle. Like if you are a fertility doctor and you want to create a product that works with the fertility space, that's authentic. That's part of your lifestyle. And I'm sure when you're off hours, you're probably talking about creating something like that. If it's like passion, I say do it, go for it, What
has been your number one challenge?
The number one challenge right now in the beauty space is getting the materials, because we're in a pandemic. And so when you have timelines, you don't meet it. Like if my timeline was to launch the face sheet mask, the Glow Factor, which I just launched it. I was supposed to launch that 4 months ago.
Oh, wow.
But, there's a pandemic. It's coming from South Korea. It was sitting at a port in Long Beach for 4 weeks and nobody was like picking it up. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Now there's like a shortage in raw materials. So I'm creating product 4, 5, 6 right now. And just being able to get the raw materials is there's a delay, there's a shortage. So I think for beauty products, and it's just not just in the beauty industry, I think just in general products, it could be in the food industry. What I'm hearing from everybody is delays and shortages.
Wow. Do you see yourself going back in any way to the same world of production?
Yes.
And you do?
So when I had that time off in COVID, well, like what's next for me? I mentioned to you, like passion is the beauty to create products to heal people's skin. And also like I started acting, and I love telling stories. For me, it's important to be able to share other people's stories. And hence why I have the Dream Big podcast. Hence why I just recently I'm taking out a documentary, and it's about like social injustice against these 2 Armenian brothers. That is something that I've been working on for over a year, and I'll be producing that. I'm not going to be in it, and it's something I'm really proud of and excited. And I feel like I'm giving back to my community with this project. And we actually just started to take it out to market. And I've also wrote a script for a show that we're in our 4th revision. So I was making 5-minute YouTube videos before. Now where I'm going at with the projection of my next 10 years is to create longer form content, whether it's film, TV shows, or documentaries. And that takes a long time. That's not something that is like the script I was working on. It's been 2 years that I've been working on. So, but it's something that I'm so passionate about, and I love acting. I filmed 2 movies in the last 2 years, and I'm going to be filming a 3rd one in the next 6 months. So I'm excited.
You do not sit still.
I can't, and it's not like not sitting still. These things bring life into me. Like when I'm not working, I get depressed. And maybe that's I don't know if it's a good thing, but I'm a workaholic. I love creating. I love telling people stories. I tell stories with my products. I tell stories with the podcast. I tell stories with the projects I'm working on as an actress or producer. It's really authentic to me, which is I love sharing stories.
And you know what? If someone can't hear it, the unspoken word here is your passion. So your passion has really allowed you to be successful in everything. And it's, I think, the best advice to give someone. I get people calling me and asking me, should I become a doctor or should I do this? And I said, well, if you don't have the passion for it, the amount of work that goes into it is not going to be worth it, and you're not going to be able to do it. So I think passion in anything that you do is so unbelievably important. I agree. And you can't do something well if you don't have the passion to do it.
I think the fact that they're asking the question is a problem, because I know you and how passionate you are for people to give life and have kids and babies. When you talk, your eyes light up. I've had many dinners with you to see the passion come through you. And I know this is what you were meant to do in your life, to help people give birth and have babies. I think if you're questioning it, it might not be for you. If you're chasing the check, it's just,
I never see you're right, because I never questioned it.
Yeah.
Even when doors closed in my face, it was just never an option that it's not going to happen. It wasn't even a thought that ever went through my head for 1 second. And now people may, in the next second, hear some real big sparks coming out of my eyes, because we've been talking about your fertility. I was told maybe not to bring it up. My producer is already sighing over there. The only reason I've always pushed you, because I met you when you were super pregnant and you were contemplating a 3rd, is because I really think that you're one of those people that does things really well. And for me, the importance of family was huge growing up.
Right.
And one day when my sister called and she had her 3rd kid and I had no kids yet, she said to me, promise me, because there was only the 2 of us. And I think 2 is just so little, or it was little. She's like, promise me you're going to have more than 2 kids.
You're just listening to this and can't see my face right now. It's like
Diana's now hiding underneath the table, okay? So I promised her I would.
Pouring all over me right now.
But it's not too.
Can we talk about this?
Yes, we want to talk about this, because
this is hard.
I want to make sure
it's hard raising kids right now.
It is very hard raising kids right now.
It's not an easy time to raise kids.
It's the hardest time, and guess what? It's going to be hard forever. And I have to say that probably our parents and our grandparents in those days had their challenges raising kids as well, that are completely different than the challenges that we have now. But listen, I respect you 100% that you've probably thought about this so well. But
listen, I you know this. I go back and forth. I flip-flop. But once COVID happened, I made that decision. I go, I can't do a 3rd. It just...
Because it was just too hard to have kids at home nonstop?
It's not just that. The uncertainty of the future really scares me. And I'm not ever scared about the future, but when it comes to my kids and the uncertainty, it's hard. I just don't know.
So I think that way as well. And I think that the uncertainty of the future and the world, I'd rather have a bunch of my kids around me. No, it's being very honest about it. And I have to tell you, my wife has the hardest job in the world.
She does.
Because taking care of 4 kids full time, and I walk in at the end of the day after I've done everything I love and all the challenges in my job, but dealing with that all day long is definitely the hardest job in the world.
Your wife, she is the person I go to when I have questions for anything. She's kind of like a mentor. She has no idea, but she is.
No, I want to tell you, she adores you.
Oh, I love her so
She
much.
adores you, and she looks up to you like you don't even know. So I'm so glad that the two of you have each other and are
Right.
friends, because she is no nonsense,
Right.
no drama,
Yep.
and to the point.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that she has you in her life.
Oh, I feel the same about her. When I see her with the 4 kids and like with everything she does, she's got a full plate with her job, and we're helping you out and the kids, and I'm just like, how does she do it? She does it so well. I don't know. This is such a weird time. Like, I'm just like questioning everything right now. Do I even want to be in LA? Do I want to be? It's just like a strange time, but. I don't know.
Where would you move to?
I know, that's the thing. Where would I move better
See,
than
go to
LA?
Hawaii and keep getting jellyfish bites?
Right, I know. We went through that whole phase of like, let's move, and then I realized I'm born and raised in LA, and LA's my home. I love this place.
I think for people that are born and raised here in LA, it's really hard for us to even consider moving. Even though so many people did move away.
A lot of people moved. A lot of my friends moved, yeah.
I mean, a lot of people went to Texas and
Florida.
And lots of different places. I couldn't ever see myself living anywhere else.
Me too.
I just know the city. I know the ins, the outs, where to find and what to do and where to
people.
go. And the people, it's a big city, but it's still a small town,
Right.
which people don't really recognize. Wow. So we're going to just leave that area.
Well, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So I'm not saying I'm having the 3rd child. That's not what I'm saying. But let's say I was like, okay, I changed my mind. I'm going to have a kid. And I'm having this conversation with you. I hope my husband doesn't hear this podcast because he might get excited. So I'm 39. What is like the stakes? Where am I when in the scope of like fertility?
So thank you. I was going to let the conversation move on because I don't want to give anyone uncomfortable position. But I think that for any woman in your shoes, what I would recommend to my little sister who's like, I don't know, I do know, I don't know, I'm not sure, is do an assessment. Figure out how fertile you are. Make sure you and your husband are doing well fertility-wise. And then there's lots of options. Potentially, we all have car insurance because we're not waiting for that huge accident. Okay, you could make an embryo, and then over the next couple of years when your own fertility is kind of dwindling down and it may become difficult, consider if you want to use it or not. Now, I think it's a lot of work to do for someone who for sure knows they don't want any more kids, but for someone who's still not 100% sure, creating an embryo, which is an egg and a sperm together, making sure it's genetically normal, because of your age, we want to make sure what we have is normal and healthy, I think goes a really long way in keeping doors open for your future. I want to tell you, this morning I got a call from a very good friend of mine who has been thinking about number 3 for a long time. And he said, you know what, Shaheen, I think we need to talk about a surrogate. I think my wife right now in her life, in her career, and for many different reasons cannot be pregnant, but we know we want to have another child.
Right.
And I really respected that because for a long time they've been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and realized that this is now, it's going to be, now is the time that's potentially right, even though 9 months of being pregnant for many women is very challenging. So there's lots of different options that I would say.
I had 2 challenging pregnancies. Definitely was not easy for me, but also I was like in a very stressful environment. So it's not because I work so much, right? I don't know. It's just like I'm taking it all in. Tell me more.
No, I just think you're asking the right question. So anyone listening who's in that same situation, you're over 35, you have 1 kid, you have 2, you don't know if you want or another one, but right this second can't make that decision, but your body's on a timeline.
Right.
Because the female body does its own thing, no matter how healthy and how clean and how perfect everything is. Internally, your eggs and your ovaries are doing their own thing. And that's what's frustrating because I have patients of mine that call me, they're 38 years old, and they're like, you have very few eggs left.
Wow.
And she's like, but I ate clean and I've never drank and I don't smoke. That has really, obviously those things can help, but they don't protect 100%. So I think going out of your way to preserve and be smart and making decisions that protect your future like we do in all aspects of our life go a really long way also in the world of fertility. Many, many people have fertility coverage that's getting better and better these days without even realizing they have it. So I would encourage reaching out to your HR, to your insurance and checking. It's still not enough. Still many thousands and millions of people who need it don't have it, but it's getting slightly better. Or there's lots of jobs out there right now, lots of employers looking. Find a job that gives you coverage and take advantage of that as a perk of your new job.
Wow. These are great tips. These
They
are great
are.
tips.
They
like,
are.
For
They
some
are.
reason, I'm going to walk out here and be like, when's my appointment?
I love you. Well, I want to thank you so much for doing this podcast with me. I could talk and talk and
I could
talk to you forever. Yeah.
I know. I could talk to you forever. And you're a great interviewer.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody
appreciate
else
that.
has told you, but you did really well.
Thank you so much. Did you guys hear that out there?
Yeah,
I was a good interviewer.
Very seamless. Like you asked the right questions and you drove the interview very well. Because I feel like there's an art to doing interviews. And
I learned from the best.
Yes, you weren't obsessed about your next question. You were listening and corresponding. So that's a plus.
I think one of the things that makes this podcast so fun for me and actually very easy is that I'm truly interested in other people.
Right.
And I love hearing people and listening and talking and learning.
Yeah.
So it makes this a complete joy for me to do and nothing in terms of a job or something that I have to do.
I learned a lot today. I did. I'm taking away a lot of
Thank you.
information on ooh, do I do it? Do I do it?
Good. I'm glad that I got those little brain cells thinking and on their tippy toes again. I wish you the absolute best of luck in your glam line.
Thank you.
And one of these days I may be reaching out and figuring out which one I can use for my dry skin.
Yes.
And
I'll send you a box.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you again for being here.
Thanks.
And I want to just one more thing. If there's anyone that wants to learn more about what Diana Madison is doing, your Instagram is so entertaining.
Is it really?
Absolutely.
Wait, tell me why.
Absolutely. It's just I just love knowing what you're doing, where you're going, who you're talking to, and it's just one of those things that you just want to watch and listen and look. Why don't you remind everyone what your Instagram handle is?
It is at Diana Madison, and then the beauty brand is Diana Madison Beauty, and also you guys could check out my podcast. It's called Dream Big with Diana Madison.
I love that. Thank you again so much
thanks
for being
having
here.
me.
And thank you everybody for listening. Take care.
Bye guys.